Section 1.2 Algebraic Expressions. Okay, what we're going to learn today in this section is we're going to learn to evaluate algebraic expressions and to simplify them. Okay, a variable is a symbol, usually a letter that represents one or more numbers. An expression that contains one or more variables is an algebraic expression or a variable expression. When you substitute numbers for the variables in an expression and follow the orders of operations, you evaluate the expression. So here's our example. Evaluate a minus 2b plus ab for a equals 3 and b equals -1. Okay, so our a equals 3, so we're going to write it here. 3 minus 2, what is our b value? -1, so we're going to put our negative numbers in parentheses. That'll help us throughout all of our math. Plus AB, which is 3 times -1. So now let's simplify the expression. So it'll be 3 minus, what is -2 times -1? So it'd be plus 2. Plus, what is 3 times -1? -3. So 3 plus 2 is 5, plus -3. So our answer would be 2. Evaluate x plus y divided by y for x equals 4 and y equals -2. So our x value is 4, so we're just going to plug it in. So that'd be 4 plus, what's our y value? -2 divided by, what's our x value? 4. Well, based on our order of operations, or our PEMDAS, it's going to be 4 plus, now we'll group these two together, -2 divided by 4. So that'd be 4 plus, what is 2 divided by 4? Or -2 divided by 4? It'd be plus -1/2. 4 plus -1/2 would be nothing more than 3 1/2. And that's our answer. 1b, evaluate. Now it's getting a little trickier. 3x minus 4y plus x minus y. Now there's a couple of different ways we could do this, and we could just plug it in, or we could simplify. Well, let's just plug it in for now. So we know x equals 4 and y equals 2, so it's going to be 3 replacing 4 for x minus 4 -2 for y plus 4 for our x minus, in parentheses, -2y, so -2. So now we got to do orders of operations, so we've got to do our parentheses and multiplications first. So 3 times 4 is 12. Okay, what is -4 times -2? Well, it would just be plus 8. And what is 4 minus -2? Well, there's two negatives together, so you could rewrite this as plus 4 minus and a minus plus 2. So you sum all the terms together. Okay, 12 plus 8 plus 4 plus 2. Well, 12 plus 8 is 20. 4 plus 2 is 6. So your answer would be 26. Okay, 1c, evaluate x plus, zoom in a little bit, 2x divided by y minus 2y. Okay, so let's just plug it in. So I've got 4 plus 2 times 4 divided by our y value, which is -2, minus 2 times y -2. So our order of operations are multiplication and division. So I got 4 plus 2 times 4 is 8 divided by negative 2. Okay, what is negative 2 times negative 2? Well, that'd be positive 4. Okay, so it says deal with our parentheses first. So again, that's going to be 4 plus, and what this is really saying is 8 over negative 2 plus 4. So 8 over negative 2 is really just negative 4. So that's going to be 4 plus negative 4 plus 4. Well, 4 plus negative 4 is 0. And 0 plus 4 is 4. So our answer, once we've done evaluated it, is 4. Next example. Evaluate it with exponents. Remember our rules. PEMDAS, right? Please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. Parentheses, exponents, multiplication, division, addition, and subtraction. So let's just plug it in. Our x is 3, so it'd be negative 3 in parentheses squared minus 2, 3 plus 1 in parentheses. Okay. The reason the negative is outside of this in the parentheses right here, why it's negative parentheses 3, because there's no parentheses around the negative sign up there, okay? So it says PEMDAS, so let's deal with our parentheses first. So let's rewrite this. Negative in parentheses 3 squared minus 2, well, 3 plus 1 is 4, there. So now we've got to do the exponent, so that'd be minus 3 squared is 9, so minus 9. And what is negative 2 times 4? It'd be 8. So I have negative 9 minus 8, so the answer would be negative 17. All right, evaluate c squared minus d squared. Okay. So negative 3 is our c value, that's squared, minus our d value is 5 squared. So negative 3 squared is negative 3 times negative 3, which would be 9, minus 5 squared would be 25, so it would be 9 minus 25, which would be negative 16. Next example, evaluate c in parentheses d minus, or 3 minus d minus c squared. So let's look at this one. Let's zoom in a little bit. So all we got to do is plug and chug. So our c value is negative 3, so we're going to put in parentheses. Again, I recommend we always put negative numbers in parentheses, so it would be negative 3 times 3 minus 5 minus, in parentheses, negative 3 squared. Well, deal with parentheses first, so it'll be negative 3 times, what is 3 minus 5? Well, that'd be negative 2 minus negative 3 squared. Right? What is negative 3 times negative 2? Well, that'd be positive 6. Negative times a negative is a positive. So it'd be 6 minus negative 3 squared. Well, negative 3 times negative 3 would be 9. Again, negative times a negative is a positive. So I have 6 minus 9. Well, 6 take away 9 is negative 3. All right, next example. Evaluate this. Negative d squared minus 4 in parentheses d minus 2c. So again, let's rewrite it. Negative, our d value is 5, so it'd be negative in parentheses 5 squared. And again, I put the parentheses around the 5 to make sure we understood the negative wasn't associated with it being squared. Minus 4, in parentheses, our d value is 5, minus 2, and our c value is negative 3. So again, I recommend always grouping or putting parentheses around our negatives. So order of operations says we deal with the parentheses first. So let's just drop this. Negative 5 squared, okay, minus 4 times Okay, I got parentheses here, so 5 minus, well, let's hold the minus for a second. What is negative 2 times negative 3? That'd be a positive 6. So that'd be negative 5 squared minus 4 times 11. Okay, now we go to the exponent. So it's negative 5 squared, so that'd be negative 25 minus, and what is 4 times 11? 44. Since they're both negative, our answer would just be negative 69. Everybody good? Excellent. Okay, on to the next example. The expression negative 0.3y plus 61 models the percent of eligible voters who voted in the presidential elections from 1960 to 2000. The expression, okay, y, represents the number of years since 1966. So it's asking us to find the approximate percent of eligible voters who voted in 1988. So what does y represent? Y represents the years since 1960. Okay, so y, the year we're trying to find out for is 1980. So 1988 minus 1960 equals 28. Okay, so y in this example is 28. So the expression is negative 0.3y plus 61. So we just got to plug it in. So negative 0.3 times 28 plus 61. Okay, I don't have a calculator with me, so we'll just do a little bit of math on the side. 3 times 8 is 24. 3 times 2 is 6. Drop the 2, 8. So it'd be 8.4, and that'd be a negative. Okay, so I have negative 8.4 plus 61. Okay, so if you do the math there, you're going to have 52.6%. Okay, moving on. Assume the model in example 3 holds for future years. What would the percent of eligible voters look like in 2012 and 2020? Well, it was negative 0.03y plus 61, and y equaled the year since 1960. So for 2012, y would equal 2012 minus 1960. So y would be 52. So I'd put negative 0.3 times 52 plus 61. When you plug that in your calculator, you're going to get negative 15.6 plus 61. So when you do the math there, you're going to get 45.4. Okay, I'll let you do 2020 on your own. So let's see what it'll be like for 2020 now. Okay, let's erase all this real quick. Okay, so the example was negative 0.3y plus 61. Okay, and our y value is going to be 2020 minus 1960. So our y value here is going to be 60. So it's going to be negative 0.3 times 60 plus 61. So it's going to be negative 18 plus 61. So you do the math, that's going to just be 43%. Easy enough. All right, going on to objective 2, simplifying algebraic expressions. Okay, I'll zoom in a little bit here. In an algebraic expression such as 4x plus 10, negative 4x plus 10, the parts that are added are called terms. So 4x is a term. Okay, a term is a number, a variable, or a product of a number or variable and one or more variables. All right, the numerical factor in a term is called the coefficient. Think of an expression as a minus 2b, or basically the sum of a plus negative 2b, to determine that the coefficient of b is negative 2. Like terms have the same variables raised to the same powers. Those are like terms. Very important to know the difference. You can simplify expressions by combining like terms using basic properties of algebra and other properties that can be derived from them. Okay? So how does that work? Let's look. The definition of subtraction of a minus b is the same thing as a plus negative b. This is important for us to know. This helps us simplify a lot of things later. The definition of division, a divided by b, is a over b, or a times 1 over b, where obviously b cannot equal 0. Distributive property, a times, in parentheses, b minus c, is the same thing as ab minus ac. Okay, multiplication property is 0. Anything times 0 is 0. The multiplication property of negative 1 times a is always negative a. The opposites of a sum, the negative in parentheses a plus b, is the same thing as negative a plus negative b. The opposites of a difference, negative a minus b, is just b minus a. And the opposite of a product, the negative of a times b, is the same thing as negative a times b and a times negative b. The opposite of an opposite, negative times a negative is a positive. A negative times a negative is a positive. All right, combining like terms. Okay, looking at our example. Easy stuff here. The k's are the same. All right, so if you need to, you could draw it this way. 3k minus 1k, because remember, there's always a coefficient of 1. So combine like terms, so 3k minus 1k would be 2k. Okay, next example. 5z squared minus 10z minus 8z squared plus z. So I'm going to use a highlighter, maybe. I'm going to highlight everything that's z squared. Okay, and I'm going to highlight everything that's just z. So we're going to combine like terms. So here's what that's going to look like. That's going to be 5z squared minus 8z squared. Okay, plus, in parentheses, negative 10z plus z. These are like terms, and these are like terms. So 5z squared minus 8z squared is negative 3z squared. Negative 10z plus z is the same thing as negative 9z. So there's our answer. Negative 3z squared plus negative 9z. We have simplified our expression. All right, C. Negative m minus n plus 2 times m minus 3n. So let's just use distributive property. We're going to distribute that negative 1. Remember, that's really a negative 1 right there. So we're just going to distribute it. So that's going to become negative m, and a negative times a negative is a positive, so it's going to be plus n. Plus, and now we're just going to distribute the 2. So we're going to distribute the 2 there and there. So 2 times n is 2m. And 2 times negative 3n is negative 6n. So now we're going to combine like terms. So I got a negative m and a 2m, and I've got a positive n and a negative 6n. So we combine like terms. Negative m plus 2m is just m, plus n and a negative 6n would be plus negative 5n. So our answer we could rewrite as m minus 5n. Excellent work. Okay, for A, B, and C, take a little bit of time on your own and work these and see what you get. All right, now that you're back, let's try to find like terms. So I've got a 2x squared, a negative 4x squared. I've got a 5x, and I got an x. Oh, and I also got a negative x squared there. So let's combine like terms. So what is 2x squared minus 4x squared minus x squared? So 2 minus 4 is negative 2 minus 1. So that'd be negative 3x squared. Okay, now let's look at the x's. I've got 5x and x. So that would be plus 6x. Answer would be A. Okay, simplify negative 2 in parentheses r plus s minus in parentheses 2r plus 2s. So let's distribute. Okay, so negative 2 times r is negative 2r. Negative 2 times s is negative 2s. Okay, let's pretend it's plus a negative so we can distribute that negative sign. So that would be minus 2r minus 2s. Sum like terms. So I have negative 4r. Sum like terms minus 4s. So my answer would be D. All right, simplify all this stuff right here. Okay, break it down. I'm just going to rewrite it right here for us. Y in parentheses 1 plus y minus 3y squared minus y plus 1. Okay, let's distribute. So we're going to distribute that y. So y times 1 is y. Y times y is y squared. Okay, minus 3y squared. Okay, what we're going to do is we're going to make that a plus negative. So I can put plus, and now we're just going to distribute that negative 1. What's negative 1 times y? Well, that's a negative y. What's a negative 1 times 1? That's a negative 1. Okay, combine like terms. Oop. So I've highlighted everything. So I've got y squared minus 3y squared, so that'd be 1 minus 3. So my answer in that case would be negative 2y squared. I've got a positive y and a negative y, so y minus y is 0. So I got negative 2y squared minus 1. So C. Okay, finding the perimeter. Find the perimeter of the figure. Well, first thing, what is a perimeter? It's just the sum of the outsides, right? So let's just add them up and let's just do it. I got an A. So over here, I'm going to draw an A. Plus, okay, let's zoom in a little bit. I'll do it down here. A plus, because I've taken care of that one. So now I got 2A minus b over 2, so 2a minus b over 2, got that written down, plus 1, 2, 3b's, so plus 3b's, plus another 2a minus b over 2, plus an a, plus 2a. All right. So let's add this up. It's sum like terms. So let's highlight what we got. I got an A, and I got an A, and I got a 2A, and I got a 3B. So we can rewrite all that pretty easily. So A plus 2A is 4A. So I can rewrite this as 4A plus 3B plus, now how do we add fractions? Since the denominators are the same, we can just add them together. So 2A minus B over 2 plus 2A minus B. Okay, so now we can just sum like terms on the top. So I'm going to have 4A, that's just going to drop, plus 3B, which is just going to drop, 2A plus 2A, plus, so I got big parentheses here, 2A plus 2A is 4A, and B minus B is minus 2B, all over 2. So I'm going to have 4A plus 3B plus, I can divide everything by 2, so 4A divided by 2 is 2A, and negative 2B divided by 2 is negative B. So I can add these like terms again. So I got 2A and 4A, and I got 3B minus B. So my answer, if I sum 4A and 2A, would be 6A, plus 3B minus B would be plus 2B. So 6A plus 2B. And again, make sure your B's look better than mine, because sometimes I always got my 6's and B's figured out. Okay, another example. Find the perimeter of the figure. Okay, let's do the same thing we did last time. Let's just go around the horn. So here we go. So we're going to start off with 2x minus y. Then we're going to start at top, 3x plus 2x plus 3x minus y plus y plus y. Okay, sum like terms. So I've got a positive 2x, a positive 3x, a positive 2x, a positive 3. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So I have 10x. Okay, let's do our y's. Got a negative y, a negative y, so that's negative 2, a positive y, and a positive y. So lo and behold, they're going to cancel out. So my answer for perimeter is nothing more than 10x. Alright, example 5b. Find the perimeter of the figure. Okay, we're going to try to speed this up a little bit. So I have 2c there, so I'm going to write 2c. Zoom in a little bit for us, make it a little easier. I see 3c, so I'm going to add 3c. I see another 2c, so I'm going to add 2c. Okay, now I see a D, and a D. So I'm going to add 3D. Okay. Now I see plus a 6C minus 2D over 3 plus a 3C minus D over 3. Okay. Well, let's start on the left and kind of compare like terms. Let's sum like terms. There's a bunch of like terms. So 2C plus 3C plus 2C. So that'd be 5, 6, 7C. So let's rewrite that as 7C plus 3D. Okay. Now, on the right side, since the denominators are the same, we can just put plus all over 3. 6C minus 2D plus 3C minus D. So we can rewrite this as 7C plus 3D plus, now we'll add like terms, so I have a 6C and a 3C, so that would be a 9C. And I have a negative 2D and a negative D. So that would be negative 3d, still all over 3. So one more time, we could rewrite it as 7c plus 3d plus 3 goes into 9 3 times, so that'd be plus 3c. 3 goes into 3 1 time, so it'd be minus 1d. One more time, sum like terms, so I have a 7c and a 3c. And I have a 3d and a negative 1d. So the final time I could rewrite it, 7 plus 3 is 10, so that'd be 10c. And 3d minus 1d would be plus 2d. Okay? Last example. The figure in 5b is a rectangle with an indentation. By how much does the indentation decrease the perimeter? How much does the indentation increase the perimeter? Okay, let's look at the other example. Let's look at what it's talking about here. Okay, if that indentation wasn't there, we'd have a D there. Well, that D is accounted for here and here. So what is added with that indentation? Well, that D is, and that D is. So our answer would be 2D. Hope that makes sense. All right, it's time for you to review that and get ready for your homework.